Hey guys, it's Lauren Yates from Rave It Up here, and today we're going to be having a chat over Zoom with Singaporean actor, US-based Kee Chan. You may know him playing villain Russell Tan in the CW show Kung Fu. We have a chat to him about Kung Fu, as well as his experience in Star Wars Episode 3 and Mission Impossible 2, and also about his life living here in Australia for over 20 years. There is so much to cover today, so let's get into it now.
Before we get into today's interview, we would like to give a shout out to our Patreons, Irene, Bev, and Michael. If you haven't heard of Patreon before, it is a great way to support us and keep us running and improving. You pick a membership tier that suits you and your budget per month, and in return for supporting us, we'll give you behind-the-scenes content and free stuff. You don't have to give much either. You can be a part of our Patreons for as little as $4 a month. Just visit patreon.com/raveitup. You can even donate through PayPal if you don't trust other sites. You can do so just through our email, raveituptv@gmail.com. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact us. We appreciate anything you can do to support us. Now, let's get into this interview. Kee, welcome to Rave It Up. It is a pleasure to have you on the show. How are you going today?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for having me, Lauren.
You're very welcome. I know that you're a really busy man with all the filming of Kung Fu at the moment, so I really appreciate your time. Since this is your first time on our show, we'd actually love to start from the beginning, if that's okay, to get a good idea of how you've made it to where you are today. So you were born in Singapore and actually, for our audience, migrated to Australia. So he's lived here before as well. You spent 2 years in the Singapore Armed Forces and the military police. So can you tell us, how did you find your love for acting? Because obviously Armed Forces is very different. Did you grow up just watching heaps of movies for fun and wanted to be a part of it?
Not at all. I actually started my my career in Australia, in Sydney, Australia.
Woo! Represent.
Totally. You know, I lived in Sydney for 21 years.
Wow.
Although I wasn't born there, it's like my hometown. You know, I feel very comfortable. It's one of the most beautiful cities in the world. You have the harbor, you have the Blue Mountains, and the food is so amazing. Yes, I started off in Sydney by chance, and then I was hooked.
Because you came over here with your mum and dad too. Did you guys move just because of, I don't know, your dad's work, or just wanted to change your scenery?
Yes, I did. I moved here because I was under 21, and Dad had residence. Dad was offered residence. It was decades ago, you know, and they offered him residence if he would come over and be a doctor. I mean, he's just a doctor, to work in Australia as a doctor because they were short. And so he said yes. So all of us went for an interview and we got our residences and we migrated. And I took the chance to come because I was still under 21. So still being, you know, under a child in those days. Yes.
So was acting a little bit of a hidden love even back when you were in Singapore, or did it really come into fruition when you were here in Australia?
I think every child, you know, no matter where you are, you dream of being an actor or at least being in films or doing something in movies because it's innate in us to act. You know, children do that. Kindergarten do that. They play, act, they dress up, and for the parents to come watch shows in kindergarten and primary school. Yeah. It's what's inside us to play, dressing up, to play fantasy and things. Except that, you know, we're doing it on a bigger scale as adults and we get paid for it.
Yes. For everyone to enjoy at home, you know, when we're locked up because of COVID and stuff. Yeah, what a fantastic job. So there wasn't any other careers that you wanted to pursue? Like, they like to call it a bit of a plan B, because I have heard you're an amazing swimmer as well and even an incredible artist.
I have been swimming since I was 4 years old, yes. And I still do to this very day. So I've been swimming regularly for decades. And my primary stroke actually is butterfly.
Oh, it's a great thing to do as you get older, isn't it? Just for physical exercise.
Yes, it is.
But that was just for the fun of it. You didn't really ever think of doing it professionally as well?
No, not at all. No, even sketching was just casual. I've been sketching since I was a kid, and I do it on set. I've been doing it since the 1990s because it's the way of relaxing,
Yeah, to
and
kind of
zoning
zone
out.
out. Yeah.
Yes,
Jinx.
exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's really good then. It sounds like you were very driven from day one with acting, that was kind of plan A, there was no plan B, and you just went for it.
There was no plan B. After I was bitten by it, I decided this is what I'm going to do the rest of my life, and nothing's going to stop me.
So motivated. I feel like we all need to be like that for everybody's lives. If you know what you want to do, go for it.
But Lauren, when you find something you love doing and you stick to it, you cannot help but succeed because, when you're driven, there's nothing stronger than love. Nothing stronger. It
Yeah.
vanquishes everything.
Yeah, because I've been doing this for I think this is the 11th or 12th year I've been interviewing, and it just the time has gone so quickly because I love what I do, and I'm sure it has happened exactly for you as well with all the acting, that the time has just gone boop.
And it doesn't feel like work, does it, for you?
No, absolutely not, because I love hearing people's stories and getting to chat to people. That's why I got into it. So exactly like with acting, you get to play a character, you get to kind of be that big kid in a way, as you said. You get to
You
be
do.
creative.
And you meet a lot of people, you interact with so many people. And there's also, too, this little plus about it is you travel so much,
Mm, absolutely.
to different locations all around the world.
That's the great
But
thing about the
anyway,
entertainment industry. Yeah.
totally.
Well, I'd love to even talk to you about, especially at the beginning, because now you've got a name out there for yourself, and it must be a little bit, tiny bit easier. You've still got to go out there and audition and everything, but a little bit easier now that you've established your name and your talent. I want just give you a little bit of your cheerleader here, just a bit of a compliment there for you. You're very, very an amazing actor, but at the beginning, we all have to pay our dues and really get out there and try to just prove that you've got that talent. Please give me a chance, give me any job. With Australia, a lot of people, especially us Australians, want to go over to Hollywood. That's kind of where we find where the opportunities are. But for you, how did you find that with living here in Australia for 21 years? Did you actually find you got more opportunities because it's a bit of like a big fish in a small pond sort of thing? Or did you actually prefer, LA, even though it's very
Oh, not
competitive?
at all. Not at all. I started in the 80s, and during that, that's decades ago. So it was very different story then. And also, there weren't very many at all roles for Asians and or minorities. And what there were tokenisms, because it just wasn't what sold and what people were interested in then in the period. And also, it was just the early days when Asians, or me, we began to migrate.
Hmm.
Um, yes, it was very tough in those days, especially being an Asian. And I decided I really needed to make myself stand out. And what I did was one day I decided I'll just shave my head in the early days. So I
Just to
would
be
stand out.
different.
And I did. I've been shaving it I've been shaved since then.
So that's a very big, bold statement.
Well, it's kind of like my own branding in the very beginning. I thought, desperate measures, you have to do desperate things. So I did.
And to keep with it too.
Hmm.
Well, I think it just goes with so many different like roles, that
Hmm.
look as well. So you must have really stood out there.
Well, yes, I did stood out because there was no one else, who shaved their head in those days. And it also made it much more difficult to get work because I was so different. Nobody wanted me anymore.
Yeah.
But I persevered. I kept it, and it became who I was.
And I'm guessing kind of over time, it did start to become easier. Like, when you think back upon those days, I talk to my dad about it a lot because he's a huge Bruce Lee fan. And
Uh-huh.
for him, really kind of carving the path for you guys that, hey, us Asians should be on the screen and representing all of you, or
Hmm.
us for you.
Yes, yes. Hmm.
Yeah. Did you find that kind of made it a lot easier after he did that?
He definitely did.
Mm.
Absolutely, he did. But then once you start getting roles, you need to deliver. You need to deliver something really good. Otherwise, you are not hired again, you know.
Mm.
This industry is very, very tough. So I'm always making sure that my next piece of work is always better than the last.
Because definitely the word gets around, doesn't it? Instead of, oh, Kee's amazing, keep hiring him. If you did a bad job, don't hire him. We don't need him again. Because even I've heard from a lot of different actors, sometimes with different auditions, you get a lot of the similar people in the same room. That must be frustrating.
No, not at all. The key to it all really is just being yourself, because you don't want to be somebody else. Everyone wants to be someone else. They think that if I be like somebody, may I get a job. But I have learned through very hard lessons that the best person you can be on screen is who you are.
Definitely.
Because you're unique. No one can become you.
Yeah.
I've stood by the tenor, by the way.
I love that. Yes, that's good advice for all our audience today as well, for not even acting. Just be yourself in any area of life, any job interview, because there is no one like you. That sounds very cheesy, but it's very, very true.
It is so true. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Well, I definitely want to chat about some of your other incredible opportunities that you've had over your career, just for our audience in particular. When you were here in Australia, you did shows like Home and Away, of course. A lot of actors do. That's how they start out. You did Water Rats, Sea Patrol, and even the film Red Dog, True Blue. But it's also, but it's also the US projects I'd love to talk about, because in 1992 you were in Moby Dick and lead support to Patrick Stewart, and then you were even in Mission Impossible 2 in 2000, and then Star Wars Episode 3, guys, in 2005, and 2018's Mortal Engines. So first of all, Mission Impossible 2, how was it working alongside Tom Cruise?
I did not have much to do with him. We may have been
he
a real
wasn't like
scenes,
around floating.
No, Tom is a very hardworking guy. He knows the grindstone. He is an utter professional when he works. It's quite formidable. His work is legendary. Filming days on all sets are very long, and I spend a lot of time in between sketching, actually. I did. And actually, I gave one of my biggest sketches to Tom when I left. I didn't give it to him when I left. I gave it to one of the assistant directors. I said, give this to Tom, but only after I leave, because I don't want him to thank me. I said, make sure that I leave.
Yes.
And, not coming back, end of contract, then give it to me. Then give it to him.
Oh,
Yes.
That's really nice. Didn't really want to just have a nice conversation with him if he
No,
came
no,
up
no,
and
no.
thanked you? Oh.
No. Not necessarily.
That's really sweet of you, though. That just shows how beautiful and humble you are. And I keep hearing you're such a beautiful, gentle, and kind soul. So that just proved it. And in
Thank you.
Star Wars Episode 3, I wanted to know, was that your actual hair, or was that a wig, that red mohawk?
No. It was a wig. We call it a wig. There's a special word for it. I don't know what it is. Switch? No, it's not a switch. It's something. It took
Kind of like a head cap sort of thing.
Yeah, it was glued on my head. Yes.
Wow, glued on your head. I
had to
didn't know they
shave.
could do that.
Oh yes. I shaved my head, of course, to make sure that there's not even any stubble, and then that's when the process happened. You glue it on.
Wow. Because I was thinking, oh my goodness, if that is your real hair, very dedicated to, first of all, do a mohawk. That would have been an interesting, just everyday sort of look. But also to have it red. I'm like, what?
Yes.
Yeah.
Flaming red.
Yeah, flaming red. Not just red, not just a dark red, guys, if you haven't seen the movie. That is very interesting. That's why I wanted to bring it up. So congratulations are in order for you, because your new project, you're playing villain Russell Tan in Kung Fu. So this is like a reimagining of the 1970s series. Is that a little bit daunting at all? And is there a certain kind of level of expectation, especially from the past Kung Fu fans?
This is a very different story from the original. you know.
Yes, as I've noticed.
It yes, very different, and it's a modern take. It's actually the story of Kee Chan, played by Olivia Len. She's so wonderful.
Oh, so good.
My, she's she is so wonderful on set, Olivia. But I need to focus on this. It's all about her story and her finding of herself, you know, and her journeys, her past, and everything else. And even Russell Tan, this amazing bad guy they wrote in, is just an observation of Kee Chan. It is part of the evolving story of her life and how she grows up, how she learns about life, her history, and what drives her.
I'm sure a lot of people, though, without, listening to interviews like this, kind of already going in with a little bit of pre-expectation, wouldn't you think? Because it's the same name as well.
By the name, yes, but once they watch it, they will see it's a different story completely. It's all about family values as well. It's about honor. It's about integrity. It's about sacrifice. It's about of bad things as well, you know, and how you deal with these things. And the onus of all of this is on the oneself. What you do with what you are presented with in life, and what you do with it. You sleep with it. I mean, what you do with it. That's what you created.
And what do you think about it being with a female lead this time as well? I'm very proud.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's about time there, isn't it? I love that.
I think
representing not only women for the female lead, it's representing Asians, because it's pretty much predominantly a whole Asian cast. And as well with the character of Ryan, who's, I could not believe, because I only just started watching it just the other day, and I was thinking, oh my God, I know that person. And the guy that plays Ryan is actually, I grew up with him, and I was like, I didn't know he was in the show. So,
right.
Yeah, very proud of him. And that's also representing a lot of the LGBTQI community as well. So go check it out, guys, if you haven't already. It just has a little bit of everything in there for everybody, plus a lot of action and a lot of drama. It's fantastic.
Absolutely.
So I really wanted to know, because this is a very different role for you as well, playing the villain, playing the bad guy. What was your reaction to that when you first read the script, instead of it being, being a good guy like you have in the past?
I've done quite a few bad guys, not just good guys.
Yes.
But I have never done a bad guy who is a father and who has children. So that was a challenge for me, to strike the balance between this, to make this guy, this evil guy, not just hated by, because he's going to be hated by everybody. It's written so bad but I had to make sure that people could relate to him, that he was a father, that he was a human, that he had vulnerabilities, insecurities, and more than anything else, he loved his children too. It's complex, of course. It's a very complex family relationship, but then many families are complicated.
Yes.
And this is not different,
Well, I do love that you believe in trying to kind of find that humanity in Russell, including that sympathy and that compassion. And obviously it does really help when he does have a family. So what else do you think you're kind of doing yourself in maybe some of your like non-verbal things to kind of create that humanity outside of that family as well? I don't know, I can't, like, when I watch it, I can't explain it. It's just like the subtleties of your acting. It might just be some facial expressions or just how you've said something, like, top job.
What it is, it's just a struggle inside each one of us. Every one of us has, you struggle with what you think, how you feel, what you want to say, what you want to do, what you can't, or you hold yourself back. It's all those things, it's a projection of many things, but it's also the withholding of many things, which creates compelling people.
And it kind of makes it a lot more relatable, because we're all like that a little bit, when it kind of comes back to, we all wear different sorts of masks as well.
We do.
Depending on who we're with. And for him, he's got a family, but he's also a billionaire, that he has heaps of money and also has a lot of secrets that we don't know about.
He does. And you will see in the next few episodes before the finale, how complicated his life and his being becomes.
Just in the beginning of the season, there's just lots of questions. It's like, what's he doing now? What? Too many what's. Like, you're like, what is he doing? What is going on? But
You need to watch Russell.
yes, kind of subtleties and Kee's amazing acting.
Thank
I
you.
wanted to know too, with playing a billionaire, that must be fun. Like, it seems like you get to have be in some of the really cool, I don't know if it's actually a real place or a set, but being surrounded by just heaps of money.
I was more focused on making sure that I played him right
Oh,
and
good on you.
correctly. I wasn't phased or concentrating on what was around me.
Mm. Is it a set or is it actually a real place as well?
Some real homes and certain parts of them are sets.
Wow.
It
Movie
was
magic, right?
it was a wonderful experience. Season 2 was a wonderful experience.
I've only watched the first few episodes of season 2 with what I could have time to watch before coming to interview you. Do you get to do some fighting yourself later on, or is that kind of why Russell has his like own men?
I do have Russell does have certain fighting scenes, but they're actually done by my wonderful, wonderful stunt double,
Oh, that's a
John
shame.
Johnson girl.
Yeah. Shout out to all the stunt people because they do an incredible job. But also with that movie magic, we don't know whether it's you or the stunt double.
That is exactly it. When
Yeah.
Johnson works, when he does what does Russell in the stunts, no one can tell. People are saying they can't tell whether that's me or a double.
Mm.
So
You
kudos
know,
to you, Johnson.
yes, definitely. Shout out. Keep up the good work. Do you actually know Kung Fu yourself?
No.
No, but you're faking it really well. So there's like no in terms of preparation for this role, no like getting into the mindset or watching different other kung fu movies to kind of grab inspiration, like Ip Man or
No.
something. I love the
No,
Ip
no,
Man
no, no,
movies.
no.
Watch them, guys,
No.
if you haven't too.
No, for me, it was all about the psychology of my character.
Oh, I like that. That's deep. I'm guessing your script is just filled with lots of, pen marks and stuff in the margins, and I'm going to do... Oh, really?
No,
I've heard a lot of other actors do that. I'm going to do
no,
this here.
no, not at all.
Are you more like in the moment sort of actor?
Yes,
Yeah.
totally.
It's like, especially when you're working off someone else, like the kids and your team and everything, like the entourage, as they like to call it, that you kind of work off them.
Yes, you do. You do, Laura. You do work off your partner in the scene because one person talking by himself is not a scene. I mean, sure, that's a monologue, but that's not working. That's not doing what you're supposed to be doing. People want to see in scenes. They want to see not two people talking at each other or waiting for someone to shut up before they can say something.
Yeah.
They want to see relationships. They want to see interactions. They want to see what compels them about these two people, that they have this interaction.
How long do you think it kind of takes you to get into that character? Especially a lot of people just go straight back to their normal selves when, they yell cut and everything. But then there's also actors like, rest in peace, but Heath Ledger, that was pretty much in character like all the time when he played Joker in The Dark Knight as well. Are you always in character or flip on and off really easy?
Well, when the camera's rolling, definitely I have to be totally the character. But but even when you're not acting the character you prepared, a residue of him or her resides inside you. And often after a very, very long shoot, when you've played the same character for many months or a year or years, it's very hard to get rid of them if they are very, very powerful, if they penetrate your soul somehow,
Definitely, especially playing, a villain as well, with a good guy, it's, I would say, not that I'm an actor, easier to kind of get back to you. But when you've got that, just like Russell Tan does, that power, that control over everybody and everything, that must be a bit hard to get back to you, Kee.
Well, I go swimming.
That's the de-stress
Yes,
and the
totally.
sketching. Oh, I'm really glad you can get back to you. I think that's something that a lot of people just don't think about as when they watch these actors on screen, that they have to get back to themselves as well. They could be playing a really evil character. I could see how easy it would be to just lose yourself. So thank God for your swimming. Now, it's funny, how this all began. You actually thought you would only be there for 3 episodes? Bit of a filler. Just shows you great acting, Kee. Where do you want to see your character of Russell Tan go in the future? Is there anything in particular you'd like to see him do?
I have no say in that. You have a team of really brilliant writers for Kung Fu, and it's entirely up to them and, whoever directs them.
You can dream though, Kee, can't you? Maybe by saying something, you might get something you want in there.
I will let them present me with surprises in the
Yeah.
future,
You
one way
like
or
surprises,
another.
obviously.
Life is full of surprises.
Oh, that was so deep. I love it.
It is.
Well, everybody, go check it out if you haven't already. Kee does an incredible job, and so does the rest of the cast. And thank you for just giving us such an incredible show.
It was totally my pleasure.
Yeah, definitely.
Totally.
And
You
in
know,
terms of being
go
on
ahead.
set as well, because I did read your name means keeper of the peace. So are you a bit of the keeper of the peace on set as well? When it starts getting a little bit, I'm sure on set gets a bit hectic sometimes.
No, I'm very quiet on set. I always stay out of the way of everybody, and I try to be as invisible as possible.
Well, you can't really do that as the villain, though, can you?
No.
But that's obviously why a lot of your castmates, I read, are calling you the kindest man, but also apparently the man who is always trying to feed them. What are you trying to feed them, and do you cook on
I
set as well?
No. I love cooking. I love eating well. I eating nutritionally, and also being Asian, where in our culture, food is is the factor which brings everybody together. Communal food, sharing of food, and it's also where you talk about yourselves, about your day and how you are. It's an opener to share your vulnerabilities with your family.
Definitely. Well, I'm sure with the whole Asian cast too, you're kind of all doing that. Come in, let's eat more.
Well, there is a lot of food on set.
Oh,
We
I'm
have great
sure. Yeah.
caterers. Yes.
You got to be fueled, don't you, to get through the big filming days. I really wanted to know too, even though you've already achieved so much in your career, Kee, what else can we expect from you in the future? Is there any other projects that you've kind of got lined up, especially after this season? Do we know if there's going to be a season 3?
Season 3 has been greenlit. It's out in the open.
Yes.
But we'll see what happens
Yeah.
for me.
It's kind of up in the
Yeah.
air, isn't it?
For me,
Maybe a bit of
yes.
time off. I think that will be very much deserved at the end of this.
I do have another film which I'm doing in the next few months. It's another Canadian film. I mean, it's a Canadian film written by Matthew Rankin, who has won many awards with his singular film, The 20th Century, which is French and English as well. And this film, which he has written for me, is a two-hander about two guys and how did they survive in the desert.
Wow. So you're reading 2 scripts at the moment to kind of get ready for that as soon as you finish? Or
No, not at all.
is all the filming already finished for Kung Fu now, has it?
Season 2 has finished, correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you've kind of got some time to prepare. I thought you were doing both at the same time. I don't know how people do that. I'd be confused what project I'm on.
Oh, it's easy. It's just like reading different books. That's all it is.
That's true. Sometimes if I'll forget where I am in a book though, especially if I'm reading one. I'm like, what happened again? Oh yes, I'm here. And what advice would you give to our audience today, Kee, who might want to follow their dreams of becoming an actor as well?
Oh, well, first of all, it's a very tough industry to be in, To be successful in this, you need to persevere. You need to be ready for so much rejection, but more than anything else, um, if you really want to be an actor, truly find it inside yourself. That's what you want. Just stick at it, because Albert Ruddy said this to me many years ago. He's a film producer. He said, Al said to me, the people who succeed in this industry are not necessarily the best, but those people who hang on the longest.
Definitely. I couldn't agree with that more. It's kind of like in everything in life, kind of worth having. You've really got to work for it. You got to
Mm-hmm.
stay in that race, because there's a lot of people that just give up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Believe in yourself.
Definitely. Thank you for that, Kee. I really hope everyone takes that on board if they want to be an actor. Incredible advice.
Or anything else. Anything else.
Anything else. Yeah, that's very true. Just in life in general.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I was wondering, Kee, before we finish up today, would you like to play a game with me?
Oh, okay.
Yes. He didn't expect this. He's like, a game?
No.
That's not what I came on the show for. It's a really fun just question-answer game. So it's like a tiny mini interview. What I'll do, it's called the 2-minute hot seat. It's very legendary here on Rave It Up. Got a bit of a competitive element. Everyone loves a little bit of competition.
Okay.
What I do is I ask you various questions, and you just have to pick your preference. So it's like dogs or cats or singing or dancing. And you have to answer as many questions in 2 minutes as possible. And then when we finish, I'll see where you sit on the leaderboard up against everyone else who's playing the game on the show.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I'm hoping to have my pal John Proceder on, who plays Ryan in Kung Fu. So maybe you can set the bar nice and high for him. And if I have anybody else from the show. Okay, let me just change the view so I can see both of us. All right. Let me just get the stopwatch here.
Ouch.
Here we go. It's intense, right? Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Facebook or Instagram?
Instagram.
iPhone or Samsung?
iPhone.
Apple or Android?
Apple.
Rap or rock music?
Rock.
Rock or pop music?
Pop.
Pop or country?
Country.
Beach or mountains?
Mountains.
Beach or pool?
Beach.
Sun or rain?
Rain.
Skiing or snowboarding?
Skiing.
Comedy or action?
Action.
Blondes or brunettes?
Pass.
Sweet or salty?
Salty.
Sunglasses or hat?
Sun.
SUV or convertible?
Convertible.
Mac or PC?
Mac.
Clean or messy?
Clean.
PlayStation or Wii?
Wii.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Singing or dancing?
Dancing.
Italian or Chinese food?
Chinese.
Kim Kardashian or Scarlett Johansson?
Scarlett Johansson.
Johnny Depp or Will Smith?
Ouch.
Quick.
Can I? Johnny Depp.
Mall or online shopping?
Online.
Cinema or home movie?
Cinema.
Ice cream or gelato?
Ice cream.
Cake or cookies?
Cake.
Cookies or cookie dough?
Cookies.
Family or friends?
Family.
Christmas or your birthday?
Christmas.
Night or day?
Night.
Bus or train?
Train.
Straight or curly hair?
I don't know that one. Straight.
Eye color blue or brown?
Brown.
Vampire or werewolf?
Vampire.
Texting or calling?
Calling.
Los Angeles or New York?
New York.
Friday or Saturday?
Saturday.
TV or movies?
Movies.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Snow or surf?
Snow.
Harry Potter or Twilight?
Twilight.
Family Guy or The Simpsons?
Family Guy.
McDonald's or Burger King?
Burger King.
Yeah, we're out of time. Oh, I'm sorry for asking you all the hair questions.
That's fine.
I was like, well, what do you prefer with other people? It could have been that too. I love how you, for the people listening to the podcast today, I loved how he like touched his hair when
my bald pate.
Ones.
Yeah.
I apologize.
No, it's okay. I don't consider hair as it. I never think about things like that when I meet
Yeah.
people.
Of course.
I
You shaved it off for so many years too.
yeah.
Yeah, it's something when you even look in the mirror, it's not something you look at anymore, is it? So it's not, I think we do put a lot of emphasis on hair. I love my hair, but it is
Mm-hmm,
true.
mm-hmm.
I don't know what I would look like without it. Now, how many questions do you think you answered in that time, Key?
20.
Ooh, a lot more than that.
Oh, really?
I know, it goes so quick. You're like, what am I even up to? You have answered 45 questions. And you are sitting 43 on the Rave It Up leaderboard, which actually is number 10 out of Zoom interviews. So that is incredible. You're in the top 10. Woo!
Wow.
You're just gonna, if you ever come back to Australia, which I really hope you do, come back to Sydney, your home. Let me know, and we'll do it in person one day.
I would love
A lot
that.
quicker, yeah.
I would love that, Lauren.
That would be a lot of fun. And before we finish up today, Key, one of our legendary questions here on Rave It Up, we always finish with, as a closing statement, and it is one of the most important questions here on Rave It Up, not to put so much pressure on it. Knowing what you know now in your life, Key, what would you tell your 14-year-old self?
Never take anything too seriously, because life is beautiful.
Oh, I love that. I got you really thinking there, didn't I? You're like, oh, I got to think back upon the days. Yeah, that's beautiful. I really hope everyone, the younger audience, take that on board too. Life is beautiful, especially when you do what you love. Now, before we go, Key, if our audience want to find out what you're up to in the future, where should they go? I could not find you on social media at all. Are you on social media?
Almost non-existent.
Yes, I noticed that.
Yes. Well, you can go to imdb.com,
Yes.
which is
all the list of his projects are there, and also for our audience, you can always come to Rave It Up, because I'm sure Key will be back on the show in the future. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
I would love to. Thank you.
Just consider it your second home, okay, Key? If there's anything in the future you want to chat about, just have a good old chat, then just let me know.
I'll come back and have a really good Aussie chat with you.
Yes. Woo! We can just chat about all Aussie things. That'll be fun.
Yes.
But thank you so much for your time today, Key. I really appreciate it.
Lauren, thank you. You and, all the producers, thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome. Keep up the amazing work in Kung Fu. Keep getting more evil. I cannot wait to see more of the episodes. I think you've really hooked my dad and I in now, because I told him about it, and he watched back in the 70s show. So he's like, okay, I'm gonna check it out, see what it's like. And I really hooked him in. So we're going to continue watching it. Thank you.
Thank you again.
You're very welcome. Well, I hope you all enjoyed today's interview. If you'd like to check out any of our other interviews, please visit our website, raveituptv.com. And while you're there, please check out our book, Knowing What I Know Now, as well as a mini ebook that I wrote last year called Staying Strong, Finding Inner Peace During Hard Times. If you would like to further support Rave It Up as well, please also visit patreon.com/Rave It Up. You can pick a membership tier that works with you and your budget for as little as $4 a month, like a coffee, right, guys? And in exchange, you get free stuff and bonus content of Rave It Up. We really appreciate any support you can give us. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching today, and we'll see you in our next video. Bye, guys.